what I wanted to create for the next generation, being my kids and my grandkids, was for them to start where I left off.
Ukhwezi ngimtholele emsing waba ingane nje right kodwa nitshengisa nje amaphupho.
Ukhwezi kuze kuthiwe ukhwezi ukuthi watholakala sekuzokusa sekuphuma ikhwezi lokusa la sekuseni.
I'm the first born yakibo Khwezi. Then ngilandela abafana bayi4 ukhwezi there is a third born ekhaya.
Anayibuya esikolweni eKratswana uzoza lapha esikoleni la ngithengisela khona ngoba benze ngibuye ngabo 3. Ngibuye ngizopheka asale ngithengisela.
Uye umuntu onginspireile lifeini ukuthi no matter what happens, maybe push wire until you reach your goals.
My name is Mthembu. People call me Pava. You know, I'm a hip hop head, close friend of Khwezi's. Really, that's what brought us together. Hip hop.
Mina ngumthabisi wakampofu. Pusha HK Entertainment, you know, music producer, music artist, podcaster, you know, nama show where I interview people and stuff like that.
Khwezi mangizommeet ngimmeet through a friend. So we're like high school, same high school, but different classes. So there's a friend of mine, but 2 shakes.
I've known Khwezi for more than 22 years now, sibangani. Ubungani bethu buqale back in high school, masiqala ungena soyithi ko high school. Bengumuntu kophiwe ngokuthi ubephuma phambili njalo nje ifundweni zakhe. Nathi silindele ukuthi mhlambe naye semdala uyoba into enkulu. Then ubungani bethu baclicka from the first go vele. Saba abantu abazwanayo through incwadi and through isport.
Ukhwezi bekumntwana obusy ngizosho njalo. Bekahlala busy because even at school bekenza wonke ama sports akhona esikoleni. Nje beyangafuni ukuhlaliseka noma kuvalwa ikole uye uyodlala ibhola, udlala icricket, udlala ilocal rugby.
Abengasumuntu wabo cherry yabo. You understand amantombazana.
I remember even nomunye ucherry wangibuza uJinja ukuthi have you ever met Khwezi? No, we haven't met. No. He's in a wheelchair ngitayibo uthini wena?
Umthembu Khwezi shoot like bokuyi out there focus vele boyena. Ukumjida like vele focus from wakudala. Nasesigela bokuyilezi vele bo is focus vele. Yabo is hlakaniphile kahle kansharp yabo.
Naye suka kulo grade 12 waseya eVale. Eyo trainela engineering.
Bekumuntu kahle ufuna ukwenza engineer kahle yabo. So he went there and then he studied wenza ama-course wakhe.
Then luckily uNkulunkulu then wamblessa ngokuthi athole umsebenzi meanwhile sasafunda futhi yabo.
Rodman should be funde eValley University and then lasuka la eSasol lasebenza for 10 years.
And then he wathenga imoto, I think it was 2007. That's when he bought his first car, iPolo ebovu. Noma ngasakhumbula ukuthi kube iminyaka emingaki kodwa kuthenga kungumuntu nje osizayo endlini nami sengikwazi ukuthi ngibe ne helping hand ngokuthi I was their sole breadwinner at that time. We contributed emakhaya indaba zokuthi mangabe kuyophuza because you understand young boys sesiqala ukuphuza sesinemali yabo things became a little bit easier
on that day
on the eve of 2010. That's when athola khona i-accident.
To my surprise, the day accident I had strange dreams then. Kanti thola ukuthi vele sekwenzeka into enjengaleyo.
And then the following day a friend of ours omunye futhi wangifonela wangitshela phela ukuthi Khwezi vele accident isole ebusuku yabo.
Sanibonani, gama lami Khwezi. Out yaseKasi. Yabo. I'm actually called Young Money. There's a story behind that. Not because I'm rich or ngisikhothane. I was born around 3 in the morning. And then there's that one star that remains. NgesiZulu it's called Khwezi lokusa. Ulilweni asasebhizi. Bengihlala ngimdlala vele kule polo la ngifake nesawo bekumuntu oqala vele eKasi basically ukuthi ngibe nale disc lelo. So I'm actually decided to call me Young Money. But my ID names or official names Khwezi lokusa Michael Mthembu. tended my friends are always complaining that my sneakers they never get torn. Our cookie, because I'm on a wheelchair and stuff. I just feel good when I put on a good pair of sneakers. I love hip hop. I draw a lot of inspiration from there. From when we grew up, you listen to Tupac and you'd relate to him from the other side of the continent. We are complaining that it's no longer the same. It's no longer the same, it's all about alcohol and drugs and whatnot, whereas Tupac is like, dear mama, baby don't cry, abo pro kid, ungapheli umoya son.
No, I was an interesting guy vele yabona. Yeah, to me yabona ngikhuluma into enzathanda ujoke bethanda ukudelela vele yabo. Yeah, plus ulawo ke nefesi enkulu yabo.
I love talking. That's my thing. my jokes in the beginning were not that good, but over time, I kind of crafted the skill. I just want to see everybody happy around me. Just want to see everybody feel good around me.
If there are job opportunities, like I would let everyone know. You understand? The money very much it does.
I've always been mindful that in as much as we gather around at the parks, at our friends' play area or whatever, we are all smiling, like we're happy. It's a proper environment, it's a chilled environment, but I don't know what you're going through, So if I can give you that bit of a break, even if it's just an hour, then why not?
The energy, there's no way of you being sad if Khwezi's around, There's if he enters the room, the energy changes, He's that type of guy, really.
And I think maybe the incident made him a better man, if I may say, because now
his level of overcoming is out of this world. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can from a process controller to a motivational speaker. Trust me, man, that those are two different perspectives or elements, wempilo. And you come out of one as a master in that field. Change your field totally. Start printing and start a marketing company, and then go ahead and start making clothing. You've got brands, and that's totally different to what you learned in the beginning. That was never necessarily your dream, but you make it work and you work with it. Wow. Yeah, that's why I go back to the point of your perspective. His perspective to everything is like opportunity. He's willing to grow in whatever situation.
The very first amount of money, I didn't know what to do with myself, but it's kind of ridiculous. 1,846.
Lapho eqala ukusebenza uKhwezi kube ngathi kube uqala kwempumelelo ukuthi hayi sekukhona umuntu ofaka isinkwa endlini.
But the first item I bought, I remember my mom even cried, we microwave, because we're around by 2005, 2007, we got microwave, so I qala. If you're getting a microwave,
it made him umuntu brave. He's a very brave man. I commend him, you understand, in such a way too strong, because if the incident were to happen to omunye umuntu bekazo give up, you understand. So I think through the support I told you from family nabangani ukuthi bangamjikeli and stuff like that, I think simenzile nayo ukuthi I realize ukuthi there's more to life than ukuthi uhamba ngenyawo.
The whole concept of disability, people look at a disability and look at it as a physical form or a mental form.
it's only when you're dead but you don't have a chance, because once you're gone, but you still here, you're still coherent, you can speak, you can do whatever, you still have a fighting chance. You just need to find what it is like you need to be fighting for. I didn't know of anyone who was on a wheelchair or whatnot. I felt a great sense of responsibility. I knew there was a stigma out there. I'm gonna be mistreated. Abantu bazokhuluma ngami, Khwezi Xwala and whatnot.
You realize that the paralysis is actually in the human mind. You could have a physical disability but mentally be stronger than able-bodied people,
I went through those steps, the worst case scenarios, ukuthi abantu bazongibheka, people are gonna laugh, and whatnot. And then I internalized everything. Ukuthi once I got discharged, I was actually ready for the world.
He made me understand the real definition of a disability. You not believing in yourself, you not having faith in yourself, making your problems bigger than your success is the biggest disability you could ever have in life. He changed what I think of a disability.
I would say I didn't think that the wheelchair could be such a springboard for somebody. Like it's the crash was, I can say, a defining point in his life, and the fact that he stepped up was amazing. Like the fact that he's now teaching other people and sharing the message. Yeah, that's amazing.
You can say I had to hit the ground running. I didn't have time to sit in a corner and cry about the situation. I had to be strong for the people that love me and want what's best for me, which was a very tricky task for a young man. Because at the time I was like 23. You have to be there for yourself, and at the same time you have to remain strong. When you see people that you have to smile even when they cry. Like, you have to tell them, I know everything's gonna be okay. Whereas you yourself, you don't even know when things are gonna be okay.
Ngoba bewazi ukuthi nayiholile uyothenga igrosari, uyazi ukuthi endlini kufanele kube negrosari. Wasebenza kuthena eqedi ukuba lapho sengithi hayi nakho ke sengena i-accident. I-accident uKhwezi wafika ngazo lezi khathi zabo 3. Kuzoba inyuye namhlanje. Awuzoba inyuye ngakusasa. Wafika ngalezi khathi ephethe igrosari ebuye edrobheni. Ngathi mase ngithengile igrosari. Ngathi manje uyapi? Wathi nyalapha la kudlalwa khona ibhola. La kunama club la abantu abadala manje ngu-referee khona.
And then the car that I bought after that, the A3, which unfortunately it's the car that I was involved in, car accident.
Ngelanga le-accident, I was there by my place, ne?
Ngangakhona ukulala. Uthi la ngabo 1 kufike omunye umama lapha ngaphesheya azongivusa. Athi uKhwezi ethola ingozi.
Then heavily pregnant. Then I got a call. Ubaba was around 2 a.m. Then azongitshela ukuthi Khwezi nangu ulimele.
Hayi sivuke ke lapho ke ngivusa ubaba. Sivuke nobaba sahambe ke sigqoke sihambe. Nasihamba sidlule sithatha usisi wakhe la endele egane khona.
Then azongitshela ukuthi Khwezi nangu ulimele. He's at Evander Hospital because apparently lo muntu obemsiza beyangazi ukuthi une medical aid, so they had to bamthathe bamse Evander Hospital.
Nasifika khona Evander lapho ngimthole elele. Hayi ke ngimzwe ngezwi ukuthi hayi owami lo mntwana. Hayi ke lapho sengiphethe ne-medical yakhe ngimthathe ke ngimtransferele simthathe simse e-Trishard Hydromet.
Masifike eTrishard kwatholakala ukuthi ulimele kakhulu, so they had ukuthi bamflyise to Lokhanjeni esibhedlela.
So mina indaba ngayizwa the following morning ekuseni ngomngani wethu ukuthi okay uKhwezi uthole accident.
Ubekhuluma besikhuluma siphendulana.
But one thing I can point out to be my first helicopter ride is what the accident afforded me. Because the injuries were quite critical.
Ifike ki-aeroplane, nayifika eMthatha. Izwi engalisho kuye ngathi, mntanama akusikuphela kwempilo sehamba, uzobuya. Bayokusiza lapho uyakhona, ngoba laba khona ukukusiza.
Remove from Johannesburg. I think it's Mill Park. Yeah, I think it's Mill Park Hospital or something. Makes a lap.
Yeah, but only drove the car for like 2 months or so.
Ngelishwa ke lo wamdobha lapha sibange sambona.
So we didn't go not the same day, you understand? Because we had to disorganize nezinye indlela zokuhamba because yeah.
No matter makhamba isikhathi I accepted ngamona it wasn't good.
Yeah, the accident, it's something you get to a point whereby it's something that is fated, because you look at how life is now and the way you were thinking back in the day, and you are honest with yourself, had you not been involved in that car accident, you would be thinking like the person you are today.
I was bengisathukile ne, and then like bengazi ukuthi nami ngireact kanjani because see after a week.
I was in a coma for like 1 week when I got there. They admitted me a trauma ICU. It's the injured of the injured. Yeah, well,
so we kept on visiting esibhedlela up until avuka. Yabo.
Vele ukulimala kwakhe kwangithinta, but ekungithintena zange ungithinta ngalendlela ukuthi ngaba weak. Kwangithinta ukuthi ngaba strong because I did my full term ngepregnancy yami up until ngize ngiteta, but ngaba na ukuthi ngibe strong just because ngiyamazi ukuthi umuntu onjani.
So it was difficult. It was a difficult state for me now. Sonke actually nabangani bethu because we didn't even know what's gonna be the outcome. You understand?
Ngoba limala kulesihlanu. Kwasikhosa ngomgqibelo nobaba ukuthi siyofuna lesibhedlela asisazi sikuphi. Sazi sasithola ngabo 3 nasifika ke hayi samthola ukuthi ukhona lapha esibhedlela. Nakhona simthola vele ulele. Kodwa ukulala kwakhe uyakhuluma. Athi nasifika nobaba wakhe wathi namba abantu ade ngibafuna.
Sathatha ubhuti wakhe, uJustice ubhuti wakhe omdala. Sacela into ke sizohamba naye. So sabuza ke before vele sizohamba ukuthi unjani, but no, apparently bengenza operation so no yena usa recover but akabi right sharp.
Izinto bezifika emqondweni beziziningi, you understand? So because we were driving besi4, it was bekuyimi uvusi ulunga noanele, our friends. So as we driving la emotweni siyazibuza ukuthi njoba bathu ku critical state, you understand? Critical state kanjani because they don't disclose, you understand? So all sorts of emotions they are running through your head ukuthi so no, but he's our friend, we need to go to some support, you understand? So but bekukuningi ebekudlula engqondweni ukuthi ulimeleni isandla, is it inyawo, ikhanda, usiphi state, you understand?
So then yeah, through nje endleleni ukuya le vele no bengiphansi mina vele bo. Bengiphansi ngingasho nje ukuthi nje besangithusile vele into le. Nama was like I don't know, nasifika lapha somthola kanjani, somthola umuntu onjani, ngiyoreacta kanjani, ngizothini kuye, uyabona?
So mangifika I think he was still unconscious bekakukoma, he didn't even see me, but ngambona mina yabo. So the pain, even if noma ngikhuluma ngayo namanje, it's mangicabanga, it still pains me, you understand, to see your friend lying in bed unconscious, you understand? Umuntu omazi kahle ubebona a couple of days are right, you understand?
ngizamile kuba calm yabo like ukuthi ngibe yimi like kashasha because nakhona lephambili bengazi ngimthola kanjani yabo.
So bangavuka and then that's when I realize ukuthi besiloke sikhona simsupporta throughout the process ebhlungu kakhulu, you understand. So I didn't even know by then up until azangitshela mina ukuthi accident imkhawathe imlimaze ispine, you understand. So the chances ukuthi he might not be able to walk again were there, you understand.
So besides if in most cases one spinal cord could be a permanent thing ukuthi uhlala ku wheelchair, you understand. So kwaba ile nto ukuthi ecabanga ukuthi mara vele kungabanjalo, but you know what, atisibe nethemba man, because usazohamba nama-physio and all that yabona.
So in other words mina ngisho ukuthi azange umnikeze special treatment, bengimsiza la engibona ukuthi akakhona ukuzisiza khona. Even namanje ngisenza into efana ngoba kuyo yonke into abeyidinga lithena ngabe ukuthi ufise drive siye somewhere, bengumthatha siye lapho thila azayidrivele yena ngesikhathi sakhe athole license.
La machita la admit now, you look to your left, you look to your right, you realize hey, my guy is kind of worse off than me, yabo. So uyakhala but ubuye nganeno, yabo, and appreciate ukuthi things could have been worse for you as well.
So emveni kwaleyo car accident yakhe njengoba sengiphawulile ukuthi angizange ngishintshe indlela bengimtreata ngayo, bengimtreata like omunye nomunye umntwana, ukuthi yena bese thole that car accident sekufuza ukuthi ngibe soft nyana kuye, angizange ngikwenze lokho ngoba ngabona ukuthi lokho kuzombulala. So if enza wrong ufuze ngimtshene ukuthi ndoda lo angiyabona ukuthi nawe udinga usizo okhuluma.
I was like no, ngaziniki nami ithemba ukuthi I know uzoba right man, uzoba right, at least now uyaphila, ngimise any bruises any scratches yabona, umuntu nje right. So like I know uzoba right man yabo, even noma sibuya namanje esikhuluma uzoba right, because naye azakube lo muntu ongathina sifike uyahawula and all that yabo.
Ukhweza omunye umuntu ngayiphi indlela like akafuni ukuthi noma kubhlungu akafuni ukuthi kubhlungu ngobani akakusuka umuntu ofuna ukuzwela ubhlungu. Nangaleso sikhathi azange kube umuntu ukuthi masifika vele sekaba bhlungu, instead ukuthi abe bhlungu wajabulela kona lo ukuthi umndeni wakhe ufikile wonke sizombona, because he even joked about what he feels constipated. So ngimbuza mina because ngiyamazi uyathanda ukuyipetela, ngithi so manje ufuna kwenziwe njani, wathi hayi angisho ukuthi yenzani mfo, but bengisho nje ukuthi yazi net mangakhona ukuthi ngisuze ne ngizoba sharp.
Kwayena usese confused, you understand ukuthi oh this happened to me and the chances ukuthi ngingakhona ukuhamba ever again are there, you understand. So bekuba khona iprocess la hamba khona lokho hamba physio, you understand.
Thina siphuzile ukwazi ukuthi Khwezi usazoba nenkinga yokuthi engakhona ukusukuma. Bengakhona ukuthi umntanami ngeke asakhona ukusuma uzosukuma nayibuye esibhedlela yini. Ngiphuzile ukwamukela.
Kade seka conscious because kade sekaphumile vele kule ward labantu abagula kakhulu, kade seka sebamhlalisa ku wheelchair agrandi wazi ukuyiphusha kahle, and he was very happy ukuthi sikhona la, because you can imagine ukuthi uhlala endaweni abantu abazi 100% yabo bonke yabo. So if you see your family now uthola amandla yabo.
I was given my discharge date. It was in 2 weeks' time. I was quite devastated because now reality is really kicking in. Because remember, when you spend 5 months in a place, that's home. That's a safe place for you. Doesn't matter it's a hospital or whatnot, but it's a safe place. People there understand you better than the world outside. So I started pondering about the future, and the most difficult thing was that out of friends and relatives, there was no one that I could actually call who had moved past a similar situation, because there's no one amongst my friends and family who is on a wheelchair.
Unayesesho njalo nami yami wababhlungu athi umntanami uyahamba yi nasesho kanje. Wathi cha baba sengiyabonga ngoba senifikile. sana sifika ke senza lo mkhuleko sakhuleka ke engakayi etiyet waya kamva sambona kamva esebuya etiyet futhi.
Yeah, thanks to the staff sase Netcare Mill Park, they put me together. After a week I was out of trauma ICU. I was admitted ICU. Yeah, so the battle was not over, yeah, but I was getting a little bit better. Because in King and Kulu was the internal injuries. Because even that man, I don't need the only scar that I have from the accident is the one on my back. Yo. So zangilimali little, zangilimali anything. Yo.
Uthena selapha sebeqedile umenze operation bamnyusela le phezulu labantu abafundiswayo ukuthi fanele ugeze kanjani uhlale kanjani wenze njani. Manje bonke abantu bebebalanda abantu babo odokotela bebebalanda abantu udokotela wakhe azi ukuthi nayifike ekseni akuthola ususa embedeni onesibasho njalo. Nangempela ubaba bevuka le ngabo 3 ayegoli njalo. Monday ufike amshiya, Monday uyabuya esosolo.
The one of the most difficult things was that I come from Mbalente, which is in Mpumalanga, and most of the patients there were from Joburg and surrounding areas. So my visits were a bit few and far in between, you know. So you'd find the whole ward as visitors, you know, except for me, you know. And I actually spent a total of 5 months in hospital, and that 5 months, 99% of the time, you do nothing but ponder and think about the future and how life is how the rug has been pulled from under your feet. So I only cried once about the accident. Actually, it was a Sunday. Everybody had visitors except for me. So I went to this other garden, which was at the hospital. I think that was basically the turning point in terms of my mental fitness of getting over what has happened. Not actually getting over. You can't get over what happened to me, but I think you can move past it. You know, because it's gonna be a part of you for a very long time. Sometimes for the rest of your life. So yeah, I cried at the garden, but after that I wasn't a sad person. I was actually very happy, and I felt that a load had been lifted from my shoulders. We carried on with physio, with vocational and whatnot, and then came the scariest time, you know, the time that you dread, because you also see some of your friends getting discharged, you know, and you share the fears. Because when you get to hospital, you were under the impression, or you were hoping, that when you get discharged, you will be walking again, and you don't have to deal with people looking at you some type of way.
Siyileke esibhedlela saya kule ward bekakulo ne samthola lele vele umntwana wami. Then ngafunda nje kahle noma ukuthi kunjani to, but bengimzwela nami yabo kulesimo bekakuso bengumuntu vele omzwelayo. So the first thing nje mina engayisho phela ngavele ngada awungamari man yabo kuzoba right, plus you have to be strong cause I understand ukuthi kunengcosi manje yabo. Yeah, lo sisi bayazwana bayakhulela think bayakhulela bese nenyanganyana, so nale bese ngizwile ngadano into ezokwenza ukuthi uphile and survive this ngicabangele ingcosi yabo.
And then you realize how much his daughter actually means to him. That, you know, because with Untando, it's a fruit. She's a fruit. She's mass inspiration in his life, you know, and how much she actually means.
So yeah, she just turned 9 years this year. She's a real blessing. She was actually born on August 2010, and while I was in hospital for that 5 months, that was one moment I was looking forward to, besides walking or work or whatever. It's something that sustained me, you know, that there's going to be a precious life, you know, like that's going to be on this world, which is going to need me to be strong. And then the interesting time came when I had to go and see my esteemed psychologist. So what happened when I got there, I was open-minded because I'd never been to therapy or spoken to someone about my problems. So you realize even at an accident, it's something you've never been in an accident like this. So probably this is something you need. So I go there. As soon as I get into the door, he stands up to come and shake my hand and introduce himself. And there, I was disturbed. He actually stood up to come and greet me. And for me, that was disturbing as a person who's on a wheelchair. After he introduced himself, just as we were about to start the session, I politely asked to excuse myself. Then he asked me why. Then I told him, I don't think this will be fruitful because how can you guide me and tell me that things are gonna be okay, whereas I don't even think you have an inkling of an idea what has just happened to me. Not to say I'm dissing qualifications or whatnot, but certain things in life have to be true life experiences for you to make sense to certain people. Like that, our meeting was over. He wasn't pleased, obviously. Then later on, when the doctor was doing her rounds, she was furious as well. Came and told me I actually need this because over time, or as time goes by, it's something that will catch up with me and whatnot, you know. But for me, it was a fruitless exercise. I'm not going to go there just to please somebody, but I don't see the value of it. Instead, over time, we ended up counseling each other at the ward when other patients caught wind of this rebel.
Kodwa thena kusekufika isikhathi longamukeli ngamukeli ngaze ngagcina ngathi nangamukeli mina uzomukela bani ngoba khona kunjalo kubhlungu angimukele khona naye ezoqina angathi umama akakhoni
I was actually discharged on a Friday, came back. Then my parents did the sweetest thing. I used to enjoy spare ribs, you know, with those chips and onion rings and whatnot. Yeah. So usually I'd buy for everyone or even go out by myself. That's something that I would buy. So when I got here, they actually bought that for me, you know, like I didn't have a party, but for me that was enough. Because I was tired of ration and white bread and veggies. Like you go through the same menu for 5 months. Even when you try to mix it up, you know, it's still the same thing, you know. So it felt refreshing, you know, eating like, I'm not dissing hospital food, you know, but eating proper food, not boiled veggies, you know, and custard with no sugar, you know. I got home, it was a weekend. Everybody was happy that I'm back. Basically, other people were sad as well because they had hoped I'd come back walking, so they were worried about my mental state and whatnot.
Naye buya la ekhaya ubuye ukhwezi nathina besazi ukuthi kufanele simhambise etoilet besitshela lokho simendlalele umbhede or abafowabo bamfaka ebhavini ngoNkulunkulu azange akwenzeke lokho Khwezi buye wayele etoilet wabuya waklina ikamelo lakhe wabuya wandlulela umbhede wakhe wabuya ezenza yonke into nje yenziwa abantu abaphilayo azange ahluphe umuntu.
On the Monday, I got a pleasant yet unexpected surprise. Actually, the boss of my boss came to see how I was doing. His name was Rex Jeffries, and I was quite grateful for that visit in realizing that you are actually an integral part of this team. It also instilled a bit more self-belief in me. That's why I'm saying I really appreciated that visit. Before we could go and sit on the table with the vocational therapist, because he was just that kind of guy. That's why I've never forgotten him in my life. We discussed the work details. You can say man to man. When he asked me, you used to work at a very labor intensive environment. And as much as you can't be doing the same thing again, I still need you on my team for what you bring into the team and how, even though you haven't yet been appointed to a leadership position, but people actually listen to you when you guys are working. So I would like to have you somewhere in my department, So those words have brought a lot of meaning to me. I still have a fighting chance.
Akazange nje asinike inkinga nencane. Futhi ubengafuni ukuthi umzwele ubuhlungu. Uthi umzwele ubuhlungu hayi, bengafuni ukuzwela ubuhlungu. Lokho waba ukhwezi wasibhedlela, awubuya ukhwezi, akekho ngathi ukhwezi, ngihlupheke ngaye. Umntade ehlupheka ngaye ke ngoba bemsebenzini. Ubaba kufanele ambeke, amfake amkhiphe. Kuthi ke emva kwalokho ke ngenhlanhla ke bazi bamvumela angeneke. Kodwa ubaba efanele egedeni amehlisa clock amfake ngaphakathi. Pho umntwana wakho owakho. Wabuthola lobo mzima, uNkulunkulu wazamhawukela, bamfaka ngaphakathi. Khona kunjalo.
Yeah, he said I can stay at home for like 2 weeks or something. I stayed at home for like a week, and already I was going crazy. I asked to go back to work the following week. Everything else hadn't been arranged for me, because at the time I was the first person on a wheelchair in the department. So we didn't have toilets, we didn't have steps, we didn't have anything. So it was a huge change for everybody. I was appointed to an admin position whereby I do most of the admin stuff in the department. I'm a very productive person, and then over time I felt that I was being underutilized. After a short period of time, I had proper toilets, I had proper steps and everything. The place was just set up properly. Come 2014, unfortunately, Rex had to leave the plant, and I had worked with him for ever since I was there. You can say the whole 10 years. It was a very anxious period of time, because now you're wondering, the next boss, is he gonna understand my situation like this guy has been? Because we ended up being like brothers. Come January, they appointed another boss. The guy's compassion, to begin with, was non-existent. And if you're going to lead a team as huge as we were at the time, we need to feel that you actually care about us beyond the work. It was a very challenging period for everyone, because it was results driven. Whether you feel okay, whether you are down or whatever, he wants his results, and we're not used to that. Rex used to be very compassionate, That's why we never lied to him and say you're sick and whatnot. Nobody would take off sick if they're not really sick, because the environment that he had created, it was an environment of compassion. But then at the same time, this new boss, it was a blessing as well, because as I'm saying, everything was set up properly. Like I had my own office, I had my own laptop, I had car access into the plant, because you can't just come into a car. Like you park there, then you clock in and walk to your workplace. But I parked right in front of my office, so it was a very comfortable environment. I could have worked there like forever and ever. But now this guy was making the environment not so comfortable anymore, and it got me thinking. I was traumatized, and it's sad when I look at my friends' Facebook statuses, WhatsApp statuses, talking about toxic environments at work, because that thing really eats you up every single day, and I feel people are not paying attention to that in as much as they should, because it also affects your private life as well. take me for instance, I used to think about the guy Saturday afternoon, you know, like I would work until Friday, then obviously I'm off from Friday, Saturday, and then Monday you go back to work. I'd get to a point where I think about him on a Saturday afternoon. I'm worried, like what is it that I'm gonna do wrong on Monday? I went on leave because usually my birthday I would take leave, and then I went to Woodmead with the person that I was in a relationship with at the time. We just chilled, you know, enjoying ourselves, and then the phone rings. You know, it's this other boss. You know, he's asking me, where am I? I'm telling him I'm in Joburg, and then he asks me, what do you mean you're in Joburg? I'm like, how, my guy? But I put in leave though, like 2 months ago. That on February I'm gonna go for like 3 weeks or so. He's like, no, we need you here. We have a presentation in like 3 or 4 days and whatnot. I'm a very reasonable person to an extent whereby I would have driven back to come and help and whatnot. But I feel that perhaps it was that time, or perhaps it was the time the switch came on. Then I just snapped at him. You know, I told him, I'm not coming back. You'll only see me like in 3 weeks' time. So I do believe that will give you enough time to put together my punishment. And then after that, I hung up on him. So this lady that I was with, she's also inquiring, who's that person who was calling you? I'm telling her, no, it's my boss. Like, what does he want? I'm like, no, they want me at work. Like, aren't you on leave? You know, I'm like, yeah, I'm on leave. But they still want you at work. So you do not have a life. You just have to be on their beck and call. I thought about that the whole night, and then I decided this is not for me, you know, because I was just withering away. I was wasting away, basically. When I came back, I tendered my resignation.
After the incident, he decided to resign from work. He followed his passion ukuthi abe company yakhe, because esikoleni he always wanted ukuthi uzosebenza, you understand.
Ngamsupport to that. Why? Because wangitshela isizathu ukuthi I decide ukuthi ufuna ukuzimela, it's why. Because now if ukulesimo sakhwezi asifani sibantu, and the way abantu bakuthatha ngakhona akufanani. So there was this incident ukuthi emsebenzini, there was this guy, I won't mention his name. Then waba namagama ngekho right awakhipha to ukhwezi kule situation ayiyo. So wathi ukhwezi, I can't be living my life. Fine, umsebenzi wona usasekhona, but now mawuzophila impilo yokwazi ukuthi abantu bakuzwela ubuhlungu, or mawazi ukuthi abantu abakuthathi serious, angeke ngize ngikwazi ukuthi ngibe lento engifuna ukuba yiyo, or ngiyenze lokho engifisa ukukwenza ngempilo yami.
And then the most challenging part was telling my parents as well. Because the tricky part about it, I didn't know what I wanted to do after resigning. But I knew that I needed to remove myself from this environment in order for me to figure things out properly.
Mina ngizothi wayenesiphiwo sakhe. Benesiphiwo nje namaphupho nayo yonke into nje ubenayo. Ngoba uthe nayibuye esibhedlela wangitshela ukuthi mina uyovula inkampani. Ngathi hawu, umuntu ohamba ngisho evula kanjani inkampani?
I came and told my parents. They were not too happy about it. But then throughout the years I've made a lot of decisions, you know, as I said, from being a 19-year-old and whatnot. So there's this trend of good decision making on my part.
Because ngiyamthemba yena wathi into uyayenza vele anyway, yabona. Yeah, so yeah, he quit his job, Sasol, left, and then he started his own business, definitive French culture.
Walokho eqinile nje ngimangaliphithiza, ifika imshini kwenzeka yonke into, evula ioffice lakhe, efaka ioffice ngaphandle. Hayibo, nanga umuntu ezosigelela imanga, abantu bazothini ngoba bazothathwa phela lezi zinto.
Angeke ngithi ngaphila bad, but then I believe in him, knowing ukuthi ukuyeka kwakho umsebenzi bekungasho ukuthi uzobuya ahlale elokishini?
Because some of the people kube bebakude same situation akuyo bebazonye bebenyeke bayeka umsebenzi because yena unama goals nama dreams thina besinga understand that time yazi na umuntu bakayispan uyasho lo wenzani manje yabo izinto esifana nale mara besinga understand that mara masibona isikhathi sihamba sabona ukuthi oh okay yiyo lento afuna ukuyibuilda kanje.
The first week was very weird and because you think about your colleagues, that it's lunch now, we could be doing 1, 2, 3 and whatnot. Your mind and heart is still there, your body is here. Because I mean, you spend 10 years of your life in that place, you know.
Okay, no, I can say from high school, the only thing, some of the things he was business minded, you understand? Gibo umamakhe bekathengisa yabona amakhekhe yabo ama-snacks for abantwana base-primary school, you understand? So sometimes esikoleni uma ngabe ikolo ivaliwe, he used to ukuncedisa umamakhe, you understand? Amncedise some of the things, athengise naye abuye abalimali, you understand? So I think i-passion yakhe started from there ukuthi azisebenze.
So there's an exercise that I decided to do. I used to drive on the route whereby you can see the factory, and I would look at it. You know, the first time it was a little bit emotional. You know, I think about everything that I used to do there, everybody that I left behind. But as time went by, you know, you start caring a little lesser and lesser, and now you're focused on your new life. You know, and then I met a guy. His name Nkululeko. He's a very smart guy. Came with him with the proposal that I want to start a business, you know, with him. Would he be interested? After a couple of talks and whatnot, because I think he still wanted to figure me out as well, that can I be a trustworthy guy? After that, we committed to starting a business of which our niche market was graphic design and printing, ekas, you know. The first 3 months, we didn't even print one poster or flyer. It was a discouraging time. How we used to push time or make us believe or whatnot. We would wake up every day and come to the office to design or whatever, you know, or talk for like that 8 hours or whatnot, just so that we don't sit at home and just let the whole thing slip away. Yeah, the company started doing well. Unfortunately, Nkululeko had other endeavors that he wanted to pursue. But it left me with a dilemma because he used to be the creative director. So basically, he was the guy who used to design because I didn't know anything about Photoshop and whatnot. I hadn't taken any courses at the time. So yeah, I couldn't let the company die. I was on my PC for like 6 hours every day for 5 weeks, you know, teaching myself Photoshop. Yeah, the company started doing well. I was basically operating it on my own because at the time I couldn't afford to pay anyone. After a while, me being me, I had to ponder again. Yes, we're making all these profits and whatnot, but the people that you live around, what exactly is the company doing for them?
From esikoleni, he was participating kulezi zinto zaboma debate, you understand? Yeah, so bekuwuye more interested kulezo zinto lezo. So naseclassini sometimes ukwaba boma vice president ku-matric, you understand?
Over time, I decided to collaborate with an NPO called Greater Heights to sponsor youth events actually, because imbalantly we have a lot of social ills in terms of drugs and crime and whatnot. So in looking at that, I felt I have a responsibility to do something, or I can just keep quiet and not complain about it if I'm not willing to do something. So I used the tool that I have, which is called Definitive Print Culture. We hosted our first debating competition in 2017. And then the very same year, I decided to host a soccer tournament for the little ones, which is under 17. under 15 and under 14 and 13. When you look around your environment and you thinking to yourself, I cannot come to Lelogish Lele and live it as it is. I can't save it. I can't save the whole of it, but the part whereby I'm close to, I can actually make it a better place. Being a motivational speaker has also helped a lot as well, because my accident was 2009 December, so it's like 2009 2010. I think perhaps I wasn't ready to talk about the accident, because I only started being active or motivating people around 2012. There were nights whereby I'd actually dread the future, and then I would replace those thoughts with positive thoughts, because we all human. I'm not always all happy, and positive. I would be negative as well, but before I sleep, I would recite something. I don't know how I came up with it. I would say, as long as I'm alive, as long as I'm breathing, I still have a fighting chance. So from 2012, I used to just post, like just small sayings or motivating words. I was really surprised by the response. People would send you an inbox. Like back in the day, you would get something like 3 likes, after 7 days. It is a little bit discouraging, but you won't be discouraged if you are doing it for the right reasons. So people would inbox you, "Yo, my guy, I wake up to see what you wrote today." You don't need like 1 million people to believe in you or support you or whatnot. That one inbox was enough for me. It showed me that I'm actually having an impact on people. And then I started posting videos as well, because I like going to the gym. So after gym, like around 6 or whatnot, I'd post a video of myself, with like the word of the day, like don't give up or whatnot. And that caught traction as well, So the videos caught traction. I decided to host my first seminar in 2017. That was my first seminar. I think like 15 people came, and people were fighting me throughout the preparations as to why am I not taking this thing to town, because apparently people in town would be more receptive to it, which unfortunately, was the truth. Elections are jive, so I'm not gonna pay my money to come and watch you talk to me.
And then he started motivating, and then wabane the show beyibiza fear of being average, and then bengi-attenda kakhulu. I don't think khona la ngiluza khona. Yeah, for me bekuyinto engimotivateayo kakhulu. Kuyizinye izinto bekayikhuluma khona laphayana bengibuya nazo, bekangakha ngasho kanjalo.
If I remember one part la athi, abantu abanjengathi abanormal, because we think we're normal, we take abantu abanjengabo Khwezi abahleli ema-wheelchair nabaqalile ukuthi ba-disabled, you understand? And those people in most cases, they don't feel sorry for themselves, you understand? They just nabo bazibona be-normal, and they can do more than umuntu or actually all right, you understand? Uthola ukuthi when you have a fear of doing something because no, it's not going to happen. Ngeke be possible. So unale drive ukuthi no, angiqalanga mina right, I can do it this thing njengomuntu normal. That's what touched me.
And you also look at the value of his point of view when he says to Uti, because he said something to me about the dog on the glass, that mawuhlushwa yinto ingakabi buhlungu ngaleyo ndlela, ngeke uzusukuma uhambe, uzawuhleza uzitshela ukuthi uyancenga. Uyabona, that's why you hear when you talk to people umuntu athi hayi ngisahlanganisa man, ngiyancenga, he's dealing with a difficult situation, and he has not reached a heartful point, you know. You have not reached the point where you're saying, as in, I'm not going to do this anymore. I want to do that, you know. And he played a big role in me not 9 to 5ing anymore and doing my own thing, you know, trying to be the inspector that I deserve to be, you know what I mean? Without acting with, he taught me that the world owes you nothing. Anything can happen at any time. You could find yourself in a situation you were not in 30 seconds ago and have to deal with the repercussions and the consequences for the rest of your life. How do you accept that? How do you go beyond that? How do you allow life to change you, or are you the man who's going to change life, the life around you? It's supposed to adapt to you. You don't adapt to life. And that's him. That's me just paraphrasing him, you know.
Into engayithatha kuye is because motivation yakhe, because I've been to a few of his motivational shows. Mangayibiza kanjalo lo muntu lo uplifta abantu abaningi kakhulu la around and far, yabo. So nje yena umuntu ohlala kutshela vele yonke into ayikutshela yona. The point is never give up.
Umfowethu uyakuthi bengacabanga ukuthi uzofikile izingakulo ngendlela engayo. Ngiyabonga mpilasi kakhulu, azange umthwalo kimi kodwa umgqugquzelile kube ngathi uyaphila njengoba ngihambela nje ukungibona nje.
So Giangawo, is there a difference between Khwezi off stage and Khwezi on stage?
There is no difference. Uyafana khona unjalo lo muntu wadalwa njalo, so there's no difference, because even noma off stage ukhuluma njengoba aku stage, so even noma sikhuluma nje siyaxoxa nje, because noma on stage akabi serious as if ngathi vele une audience, uyakhuluma nabantu as if ngathi nawe njengoba sikhuluma manje. Understand ukuthi yeah.
There's a phrase that my dad used to instill in me when we go to work. When all is said and done, you know, still I will rise, you know.
Into engikhumbulayo ukuthi if mangabi alarm iqala iringa kokuqala ekseni ikuvusa, akumelanga uignore, because manje kungenzeka ukuthi uignore kokuqala khona ukuluzayo kakhulu. Your first ikuringa kwayo and then uthi uyignore and then so kuluza okuningi ngalo. So that's the thing engayikhumbula ukuthi the first time iringa you have to wake up with indeed to shona la kumele uyekhona.
Because that's a problem. People don't want to start, you know. And it's in starting whereby you become a master or you speaking in front of 100,000 people. You have to start.
Kubalekile ukuthi usuku nosuku enza ukuthi uyamotivateka yena internally before ezokukhiphela ngaphandle kulabo abalandelayo, ngoba lokho ngikushiso ukuthi le ndaba engathatheki ngokuthi uKhwezi umotivator ngoba nako athola i-car accident. uKhwezi umotivator ngoba it was his goal before i-car accident ayithola. So into eyenza ukuthi aqhubeke nokumotivator ukuthi ubefuna ukureacha ama-dreams wakhe no matter ukuthi bese phazamiseke kangakanani.
So yeah, we had our first seminar 2017. I've never felt like that in my life after the seminar, you know. All 8 of my people, you know, were in awe. Like, we didn't know that you have this within you. I don't want to say wisdom, but people call it wisdom. I just feel wisdom is a little too strong of a word, you know. Same year, 2017, pulled another one in October, I believe. The number increased. I think we got to like 31. You know, which was inspirational as well. Like, yo, the message is getting out there. And then I got booked. My first booking was in Pretoria. It was World AIDS Day, same year, 2017. I was only told when I got there, because I got there very early, just so that I can take in the atmosphere and relax a bit. I was told that they were expecting 1,480 employees. Wow. Wow. I started pondering, you know, going back and forth, you know, how you gonna do this? Like, these people, you know, what if they don't like you, you know? what if they laugh at you and whatnot? This thing's gonna break you. It was my time to speak, you know. When you actually there waiting for them to call you, but you don't want them to call you. You know, like you do make don't mess it up, you know. Because you need to remember another thing, there's other people who are watching who can give you other opportunities as well. So there's no rerun. You know, you have to do this right and do this right this one time. They gave me the mic, they had like this proper PA system, because I could hear from other speakers as well, like, yo, this thing is very clear. So if I don't have a chance, because I was thinking about negative things only, you know. I just said, Dumelang. Then the ladies lost it, you know, when they heard my voice, you know. So as they are busy losing it, you know, I'm looking at them like, yo, I can actually pull this off, you know. And it actually gave me like 5 minutes to breathe in, take in the moment, you know. I had to compromise because I written the whole speech and practiced it in English. And then the most challenging thing, when I got there, and for me, I don't just get on stage and say whatever and leave. I need you to like grasp what I'm trying to say to you. So language even if I'm not good at it. So then pesha through the speech. Whatever, it's other way I know Ugunya is suit. I don't even know the difference. Yeah, and then it was probably one of the greatest moments in my life, you know, when I got off that stage. And I think the grandma was like 70-year-old.
I know there was a time when he went to do a seminar, when he was doing a seminar in Pretoria, I was documenting some of the footage. And there was an over 60, what I heard today were some life-defining words.
It was one of the most amazing feelings that I felt, you know. I thought about her until I got home. I told my parents, I actually cried about it that night, you know. And the whole point of me having that responsibility towards the people around me was further amplified that day. That is not only limited to people my age or whatnot, but the message that I have and the example that I became in overcoming all these odds, it's something that even people as old as that can actually relate to and actually think different when it comes to life. I've spoken in quite a number of places, and it's been tricky juggling that with Definitive, with the community stuff as well. If there's one thing that has always been important to me, was that we come here to make the world a better place. And that is why I coined this tagline for my speeches, that in whatever you do, always be motivated by the fear of being average.
Because why? According to my own belief, noma ngibe ngifaka isilungu basiyahlupha naso. Ngokwenkolelo yami ngikholelwa ekuthenini uma ufuna ukumotivate, angithi kunjalo, phela ngisumpetha na, ngithatha ngokuthi kufuze wena ngokwakho day in day out uzimotivate before you can motivate the next person.
When people judge you or laugh at you, like when you put yourself out there in the public, that's what you are susceptible to. But if your reason for doing that is solid, whoever says what, man, you know.
Mangiyemsebenzini ngihambisane naye ngidinga imgqugquzela ngayo yonke indlela ukuthi ndoda, when everything is said and done, you will rise again. So nami ngizama ukuthi naye angazithuli sengathi usewomunye umuntu akasesuyelwe yakhwezi. I used to talk to the way ngifuna ngakhona. Nangabe wrong bengumtshela ukuthi ndoda phela uyindoda avuka usithathe, pick up the pieces wahlanganisa uqhubekela phambili. Indaba yephithiphithi mina ngisebenza ngayo manje umntanami ngizokwenza njani. Bengumtshela ukuthi if let's say angisekho ke kulesi simo kuso, how are you going to cope? Fuze uqale manje ngisekhona. man up ube yindoda ukwazi ukubona ukuthi uphuma kanjani.
So even noma kumele siye esibhedlela besiya ngaphandle kwe-stress because now siyazi ukuthi sizofika lapha everything izoba uyijoke kuye, so ngeke siye ngale mentality yokuthi lo muntu esiya kuye ukule condition. So nje u-strong. Yeah.
Into engifisa ukuyisho kubazali esibazeli abantwana. Omnye umzala ekhubazekile, omnye umzala avelelwe inkinga. Ngicela abazali bakhuthaza abantwana. Abazali banika abantwana imidlandla. Umuntu engathi nemzali kuyena olahle ithawula kuqala. Mtshela umntana wakho ukuthi mntana akuphelile ngawe. Naye nathi akuphelile uthi bakuphelile. Ngoba na wena mzali ungasabi namandla. Umntana ngeke abe namandla. Bazali asikhuthazeni abantu abethu. Nane nabathola bekhubazekile. Ungaqhele eduze komntana wakho sonke isikhathi akubona ukuthi namhlanje awunaye. Iba nomntana wakho sonke isikhathi.
Akukho kungako but ngaphandle ukuthi uKhwezi is a good guy, not just because he's my brother, just because uyilo muntu awuye and uyafisa ukuthi umuntu nomuntu aphumelele ifisweni zakhe. And ngiyathanda ukuthi kube kuthiwa abantu abakhubazekile abantu aba-challenged babathathe njengabantu abanormal, because ukuthi umuntu u-challenged akusho ukuthi lowo muntu uyagula, akaguli ndawo, just that udinga ispace ukuthi abe lento afuna ukuba yiyo. Singabathathi ukuthi ngoba umuntu ulimele sesiba naleyo nto leyo. Umuntu umthathe ngale ndlela bekavele angayo before leyo accident leyo, ukuze akwazi naye ukuba abone ukuthi kusho ukuthi abantu bazangithatha njengomuntu, because now if mawuqala uzwela umuntu ubuhlungu kuba nalento leyo ukuthi okay kusho ukuthi abantu sengihlukile or abantu sebangithatha ngenye indlela.
Ask yourself today, what's got you paralyzed? And whatever you do, just always be motivated by the fear of being out. Khwezi.